The Seattle Seahawks are trading Geno Smith to the Raiders for a third-round pick. That's been confirmed by our Jonathan Jones. The move reunites Smith and Pete Carroll, who coached Smith in Seattle from 2020 to 2023. And Smith set single-season team records for completions, completion percentage, and passing yards, but was also third in the NFL in picks. And with that, we bring in CBS Sports lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones. And JJ, I thought Geno was going to be sticking around in Seattle. I know it wasn't a great year for them, but I felt like he was going to be with that franchise for at least a few more years. So why did the Seahawks ultimately decide to trade one of the most accurate QBs in the league to the Raiders?
Yeah, fantastic question. It really, like everything else in the world, Chris, it comes down to money. And so what you had here with the Seattle Seahawks, they had signed Geno Smith 2 years ago to a 3-year contract worth $75 million. At the time, a very fair deal for Geno, who had toiled for so many years in New York, had been the backup in Seattle, then finally got his opportunity with Seattle, and it worked. And so they inked him to that 3-year contract extension, but he wanted more. In Seattle, I was told on Friday morning, they were around $35-ish million a year. And Geno was looking for upwards of 40, maybe even close to $45 million per year. And the Seattle Seahawks were just not willing to pay that. We have seen the changes that the Seahawks are going through, obviously parting ways with Tyler Lockett, being willing to trade DK Metcalf, and now, of course, trading Geno Smith. This is going to be a new-look Seahawks team, one that is probably going to be ground and pound. And so when you talk about that accuracy from Geno Smith, I think that they said, look, for what our offense is likely to be moving forward, and what this quarterback, who maybe they've gotten the best years out of Geno, maybe not, but they didn't believe that he was going to, for their team equations, be worth $40+ million per year. They, an old friend, Pete Carroll, got on the phone, and of course the Raiders, who have missed out on Matthew Stafford, who are sitting in the draft and may take a rookie quarterback, may not. We'll see. Obviously, more than a month away from the draft, but a familiar face in Geno Smith, who, when you send a third-round pick, and when you have Geno Smith, who wanted a contract extension, one could argue deserves a contract extension, well, he's going to be going to Las Vegas, and I certainly would believe that a contract extension is on his way with it.
Yeah, a lot of zeros going to be added to that contract extension. Now, you tweeted, JJ, about how Sam Darnold has been rumored to be a potential fit for the Seahawks. Does this make Seattle the front runners in the Sam Darnold sweepstakes in your eyes?
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know, and no one around the league really knows who the front runner for Sam Darnold is. I like the way that you phrase that, because Sam Darnold has really been the domino that everyone's been waiting to fall when it comes to quarterbacks. Is he going to stay in Minnesota? Well, what does that look like? And it's my understanding that guaranteed money is probably going to be a hang-up, right? I think that Minnesota would love to have him in 2025. Are they going to give him a contract that gives him security beyond that, considering they still have J.J. McCarthy on his rookie deal? Hard to believe or imagine that. I don't know that for longevity's sake, that whatever offer the Vikings give him, their best and final offer, would be better than what another team would be willing to give him. Now the Seattle Seahawks, of course, are going to be involved in this. And so that is certainly a team to keep a close watch on. You know, it's interesting. You get into free agency, and we're still not in free agency, right? We're still a few days away from the official start of it, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. But you get into free agency, and we're really in the first wave of it right now, and everyone thinks that they know where someone's going. Everybody thinks that Sam Darnold, well, they didn't franchise tag him, but they really want him there, so maybe, and probably, he's going to be back with the Minnesota Vikings. And then Geno Smith gets traded, right? And everybody says, well, it's going to be Justin Fields or Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. And then Geno Smith gets traded. And then the Jets are really heavily involved. And then there's some other rumors out there about a Justin Fields thing. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we all were thinking, Russell Wilson's going to reunite with Pete Carroll out in Las Vegas. So what we're thinking right now there's a hole open in Seattle. I'll just say we're about 4 days away from the start of free agency. May as well be 4 years away from the start of free agency. A lot can happen in these next few days.
Yeah, what's certain is nobody knows what is going to be the next big move in the NFL. Now, the Raiders, they have the 6th pick. They were connected to Shedeur Sanders. How likely is it, JJ, they still go QB in the first round after this move for Geno?
I think it's definitely possible. When you go back to the Baker Mayfield draft, when he was selected #1 overall by the Cleveland Browns, the Browns sent a third-round selection to get Tyrod Taylor. So there is precedence for this. There's precedence really for getting a quarterback, signing him to an extension, and then drafting his replacement in the first round. You don't have to go too far back, Chris, right? You just have to go back 11 months to the Atlanta Falcons. They didn't trade for Kirk Cousins, of course. They signed him as a free agent, but $100 million later, they made him their starting quarterback for part of the season, and then, of course, went with Michael Penix Jr., the rookie. So this does not preclude the Las Vegas Raiders whatsoever from going after a quarterback if they feel so convicted, sitting there in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Yes, Shedeur Sanders has been linked to them. I believe that he is highly, highly interested in going to the Las Vegas Raiders. And obviously there's a connection there with new minority owner Tom Brady. I also believe that Shedeur Sanders would likely be there, sitting there waiting for the Raiders. And so we'll see how this draft process plays out. I don't know if I would say it is likely that they are going to take a rookie quarterback. I would just say this. They've traded for Geno Smith. An extension is likely, but that does not preclude them from being aggressive with a rookie quarterback in April's draft.
JJ, always bringing it down with the best of them. We appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much. And here was Maxx Crosby's tweet after the news. LFG, then the Raider symbols. He clearly approves of Geno Smith being the new QB for the Raiders.